Hey, Wemberg World Entertainment. What if I asked you was the biggest movie flop in history? What do you think your answer would be? Because you're going to have to revise it because there's a new contender. Anthony Mackie has a new movie out, and apparently it's going to be the biggest flop of all time. Now, the movie is called The Desert Warrior. I've never heard of it, to be honest with you. Didn't know he was making it. It's made. It came out in the States. It's only come out in one other territory, but it's absolutely bombing. And when I say absolutely bombing, I mean it's unbelievable how badly it's doing on what its reported budget is. We're going to take a look because this is insane when you think Anthony Mackie, your new Captain America, came off a flop, which was Captain America, to now be part of what could be the biggest disaster in movie history. So Anthony Mackie is set to appear in Avengers Doomsday later this year, which is expected to become one of the highest grossing films ever. Probably won't be. But the actor has another blockbuster that is going under the radar in the worst way possible. Desert Warrior, a new action-adventure epic backed by Saudi Arabia, is looking to become an all-time flop at the box office. The Saudi Arabia part is interesting, and there's a specific reason why. So Desert Warrior opened in theaters last weekend to a dismal, get ready for this in the domestic box office, $487,000 at the domestic box office, well short of its reported between $150 to $170 million budget. That's right, folks. A movie has opened under $500,000 at the box office on a budget of between $150 and $170. Wow. So the film will end up losing a lot more than production costs, as marketing likely ballooned that number, with studios often needing to make twice the budget, $300 million in this case, to turn a profit. Okay, what he's just said there, to 300, no, not really. If it's 150, you're probably looking at another 100, so he's looking at it being 250 overall. It needs to come in around 425, in around that area, if not a little more, to break even. So, by the way, I love how this article we're looking at is on MovieWeb. I love how all of a sudden they're talking about it needs to make twice the budget, blah, 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 when it's a movie they're trying to back, like Superman. It's smashed box office records, blah, 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 where they never took into account the marketing, never took into account that it has to make double the amount, never took into account all of that stuff. So it's just funny that now all of a sudden they realize, oh, this is how it works. So it is now on track to become one of the biggest box office flops of all time, challenging infamously unprofitable blockbusters like John Carter. The 2012 Disney action-adventure film grossed $284 million, but lost the studio $200 million due to the extreme production and marketing costs. Desert Warrior is well on its way to surpassing that number. Well, if it hasn't even made $1 million yet, like $1 million, and it cost $150 to $170 million, it's not going to lose the studio like 200. It's going to lose them everything. By the way, them saying there that the marketing for this has probably been massive. I've never heard of this movie until this stuff comes out that it's bombing. And that's the thing. I've never seen a trailer. I'd never seen a poster. Never heard of it. Didn't know Anthony Mackie was in it. Didn't know Anthony Mackie was making it. All of this stuff. So, what marketing? And that's where the Saudi stuff really comes in. So, the Mackie-led film has officially entered his historic territory, as it is only slightly above the worst domestic side release debut of all time, which is still owned by the, how the hell do you say this, the Oogie Loves in The Big Balloon Adventure? What the hell is that? However, that animated kids movie cost $20 million to make, making Desert Warrior's weekend gross look far worse in comparison. Now, here's the thing, and it's not really popping up here as of yet. Saudi Arabia backed it. They've put the funding in. It's basically their movie. They made it. It only opened internationally in the United Arabs. That's the only other place it opened. Now remember, it's their movie. It's marketed basically to their culture and stuff like that. They're the ones going, look, we got Anthony Mackie for this movie about our culture, our side of the world, all this stuff. It only made $200 and something thousand in its opening weekend in the United Arabs. That's right. It made less than 500,000 in the US. It made less than 300,000 in the United Arabs. That is insane. This thing is a colossal disaster. And when you think that they invested between 150 and 170 into production, that's before their marketing. So if it's their movie and they're trying to market it for the Arabs and stuff, their marketing for that side of the world must be huge. I wouldn't be surprised if they put another 150 into it, and that's where they've been marketing this thing. There's no word, from what I can see, about whether or not it's meant to open worldwide. Again, I've never heard of it. Have any of you, by the way, heard of this movie? Have you seen trailers or anything like that? But the fact that this guy clearly shows you now that he cannot put asses in seats at all. So when you put the Captain America shield on him, the problem was you weren't looking at the character of Sam Wilson being given the shield. They were literally pushing the idea that Anthony Mackie was Captain America, and it didn't work. And now his very next movie to be landed on the big screen is a disaster. The biggest disaster, and what looks like will go down as the biggest disaster in cinematic history. That is insane. And yeah, to sit there and say, well, he's going to be in Doomsday and Doomsday is going to shatter all the records. No, Doomsday could well make $1 billion. It still doesn't break even, for they have spent so far over $700 million on the budget. And keep in mind, people, this is important, they are doing 2 months worth of reshoots, which could get extended, but that's going to balloon the budget more. And then of course their marketing, they are going to have to market this thing unbelievably, which so far we're amazed they really haven't put anything out other than them 4 boring trailers, and they really are boring. They were just nostalgia grabs. They probably already cost, this thing is probably going to have to make almost $2 billion to break even. It's not going to do that because there's been no build up to it. Every other thing you've put out has bombed, and what's the momentum going to be after it? Now Disney are going to look at it from the point of view of, well, if they can get asses back in seats, it's a winner. But that's not realistic if after it everything you put out bombs again. So what's the point? But this movie, a movie I've never heard of, but it is out in the States. Apparently it's been out for a week or so, and it couldn't even make 500,000. And now it's looking to set the record as being the greatest flop in cinematic history. So again, if you guys have ever heard of this movie, if you've even seen the movie, let me know, because I'd be fascinated to see if people knew about this movie or have even seen it. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button, all that good stuff. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.